So very good morning and very good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome participants from 39 different countries and from all continents for this new EFMA Connect series. Let me remind you that this series was kicked off in a way a small 2 weeks ago with the All-Star panel, which you can replay on the EFMA web as you like. And by the way, at EFMA, we hope that you and yours are as safe as possible. Let me share two housekeeping information before we start. The first one is that microphones of participants will be muted during the whole event. Nevertheless, via the chat box, you can make a comment, raise a question that will feed our interaction with the different speakers. So I hope that you will enjoy the discussion today. And the discussion is about branch transformation. As you can see, this is the episode number 1 of the online talks for retail banking leaders. This one will get in 1-2 minutes. Tomorrow we'll have a second episode, which will look at how Asia is reinventing retail financial services, and we'll have Ping An and DBS Bank together with EFMA. And on day 3, the 1st of July, Wednesday, we'll have an episode which will be looking at the new customer experience, if we can say that way, the new human truth, and what does it mean for banking post-COVID, obviously. Don't forget to get to look at those episodes. Now, having said that, let's, I would say, get to the episode of today. We'll look at branch transformation, is, by the way, a never-ending story, as you know, and we all hear that post-COVID will accelerate. So today we would like to look at what will be the branch of the future. It's a title we've been telling since probably 20 or 30 years, but this is true today again. We'll look at what is the best mix between you digital, what kind of format, functionalities, geographic you need to ensure a relation with the customer. And for that part, we have different speakers. We have the great pleasure to welcome Ursula Wizoka, Senior Advisor at EFMA. Dzień dobry, Ula.
Dzień dobry, hello, good morning, good afternoon, because we are connecting with the people from the whole world.
Exactly. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Very good. We also have Javier Mas, Cooperative Marketing Director at CaixaBank. Hola, Javier.
Hola, Philip. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for CaixaBank to share our experience with all the world.
Thank you for joining, and we love to highlight everything you do at CaixaBank, for sure, for so many years. And then we also have George Kostopoulos, Senior Manager, Customer Innovation in Digital Business Piraeus. And we also have Stergios Latanos, Director, also at Piraeus Bank. So Kalimera, both of you.
Mera.
Hello from sunny Greece. And hope to have a nice presentation and a webinar.
Yeah, and it's very nice to remember some countries in the Nordic have less sun than you. Thank you, George, for that. So we're delighted to welcome you for this session, and I would say that we're going to immediately start with a question to the audience, because we have been studying at EFMA, especially Ula, our expert for distribution, physical distribution, has been looking at, what's the impact of COVID, and will there be more closure of in the future of branches? And we heard that there were many. So we'd like to publish a first poll and to ask you a first question, if we can show this one. And the question that you will see appearing, we'll try to look at, what in your opinion is I don't know if you see the question, because on my side it disappeared. I hope you have it, but I will read you the questions anyway. So what kind of operations are the clients doing now in the branch? And you have 4 options, and you can make multiple choice, so you can choose several. The first one is opening new product, account, credit. The second one is making the cash withdrawal. Third one is making the money transfer. And the fourth one is asking for expert advice. So can we ask you to vote? And again, you can make a multiple choice. We'll leave you a few seconds because it's quite straightforward, and we'll be happy to look at the result immediately now. I suggest we close now, we look at the result. So that is it. So Ulla, do you have a first comment on that one, maybe?
Yeah, saying the truth, I expected that this will be the answers, because you know, when we talk about the branch transformation, and when we talk about the client's experience and the expectations from the clients, you know, there are a lot of reports. I also checked the report, even the report from the World Bank. And all the reports show that people, of course, are more digital. People like to use the banking service, to use the banking account by mobile phone, but they prefer to open the first product, the first account to take a credit at the branch. So people all the time need the branch, need the advisors at the branch to come to ask the questions and to start the whole journey, banking journey, to start the cooperation with the bank at the branch. And I see that these results show that it happens all the time, and I think it will happen all the time, because when we think about the branch transformation, you know, we can say that the branch transformation has started. It has started before COVID. I'm sorry, but there is something with my. Oh, okay. Sorry, there is something with my presentation. Okay. I'm sorry, this is just the computer. So the process of the branch transformation has started before COVID. We can see a lot of new innovative branches, but I think that is what is also very important. We should also think that, and we should also know that what we see on these pictures, when our clients see the new branch, they see the result of a lot of processes, a lot of work, because the whole branch transformation happens in different areas. It is the change of people, it is the change of processes. This is new technology. This is, of course, changing of the customer experience. So it needs time. We need time to make a great transformation. And the branch is the final result of this. But all the time, people need to come to the branch and to open the account in the branch.
Okay, so thank you so much. Now maybe over to Javier. So what did COVID tell us about the way customers experience the branch, or the lack of branch at that moment? But how do you make conclusion for the future?
Yes, well, we absolutely strongly believe that branches will be important channel, both in short and in the midterm, still being, even despite the COVID. And regarding long term, probably nobody knows what will happen. Of course, I think COVID has accelerated some dynamics but at the end, we don't see tremendous changes once the pandemic seems that it's arriving to the end. And coming back to the question, we think the answer is about customer experience. And in this point, I would like to make a reflection with all of you that we can divide the things we do in our everyday basically in two big types. It could seem too simple, but I think it's about customer insights. Okay, the things we have to buy versus the things we want to buy, or the things we have to do versus the things I enjoy doing them. Okay, and of course, the COVID and also the global digitalization, for the first type of things that we have to do and we have to buy, the digitalization will help a lot, because customers, we are looking for the efficiently. Okay, but regarding the topics that are very important for us because we enjoy, or because the importance itself, we strongly believe that we prefer a human contact because we want the advice, we want the confidence. And this is why we think the bank branches will last for several years at least. Because if you need a mortgage, if you need a pension fund, some type of loans, probably you are looking for the advice of an expert. And this is probably better in a physical contact than in a video or digital channel. You know? And on the other side, obviously, for daily interactions, digital channels will be the key, and especially the mobile. But this is even before the COVID. We in CaixaBank, we are doing about 97% of transactions with non-presential channels. With it, so after COVID, we don't see a really different. But for the main transactions, for the important operations, we still doing them through a personal employee, you know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I like the word emotions that you gave, because this is a lot about this in branches. So if you look at neobanks and digital banks, so what is missing there that you can give with a branch? You know, how much can you then transfer people to the digital channel, saying that you need emotions?
Yes, well, of course, there are some things that only the human touch, the human contact, you can provide it. I like the digital only digital banks, but for the transactionality and maybe for some new segments too, for millennials or even younger. But until today, for the general populations, the emotionally connections still been very important. And this is what we are doing in CaixaBank, trying that you have the best experience when you go to the branch. We know and we realize that maybe the customers some years ago went to the branch once a month, and maybe not today are only few times a year. So this experience must be the best. Mm-hmm. And this is what we are doing in CaixaBank, transforming our branch network. And I will explain it later, but probably looking to other sectors even more than banking. No, we look and we studied a lot what other retailers do in order to understand how they have this customer engagement with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, Javier. Now over to George and Stergios. What lessons did you take out of COVID-19, you know, in looking at how the branch should be then?
All right. So actually, in the beginning, we thought that, for example, this picture, which was the picture that gave us the beginning of our e-branch project that we'll discuss later. And this is the situation, probably not, you can't see it very often in North countries, but you can see it in South countries, banks. This is something that is not a good experience for anyone, either for the clients or for the employees working on it. And of course, you cannot do actually banking in this environment. So this is something that we were working on it 3 years ago for the branch project, and we wanted to reduce this and make it more better customer experience and more efficient for everyone. So COVID-19, although we thought that changed a lot of things, actually it didn't change a lot of things. It brought things much quicker. So things and transformations that were probably planned in our strategy for the next 2-3 years, I think they came in front of us in the first 2 months of COVID-19. So some important things about COVID-19 that we saw, for example, in the branches, is that, of course, we had less people coming in there, but we had the extended hours of working of the branches, which was very important for people not coming very close each other. So they had, 12, 13 hours to decide when they want to go to a branch, to make a banking transaction. And so you can see the old man with the gloves in the left picture. He still want to go. He doesn't use his mobile, but he feels much more confident in the branch. And we saw also in all our branches, a lot of people coming to be educated either in the web or in the mobile. So we had the facilitators and the meter greeter ready to give them either leaflets or information, or to show them and sit with them and make the first transaction in order to be more comfortable. And I think Sterios, my colleague, has some more information on that. But keep just this, that human approach that Javier told us before, the extended hours, and to be functional, that we'll see later in the branch, are very important.
Yes, hi from me as well. I also wanted to say that we completely agree with Javier's perspective and La Caixa's perspective. I just wanted to open up the discussion a little bit more around the general lessons that we have from the COVID situation, and I would summarize them in two. This is not directly and only related to the branches, but also related to the bank as a whole. And the first lesson was, for us, the importance of focus and decision making. We all of us had to act quickly and in a very focused way. A typical issue that many banks often face is the speed of execution for the various projects and initiatives that they are working on. This is due to various reasons. For example, each one of the bank's department and team has their own agenda. There are problems related to the coordination and project management, multiple and often conflicting priorities across departments and projects and so on. And due to this, execution is often slow, and many times projects are frozen or cancelled simply because no one is doing anything about it. So what we experienced was that due to COVID, a very specific focus was placed on specific things that needed to be done swiftly. And this was a crucial enabler for them to be done quickly and to be done correctly and in a quality way. For example, we quickly put social distancing practices in place, both at branches as well as our work offices. We allowed and enabled people to work from home, putting in place the necessary technologies for them to do that. We increased systems capacity to allow for the increased digital traffic in terms of online banking registrations, transactions, etc. And the measures that we also put in place in the operating model of the branches was also very quick. Were also very quick. So, for example, we limited cash withdrawals and deposits less than 400 euros and 1,000 euros respectively to just internet only. And this was not an easy decision. We took it, and it worked in terms of limiting, reducing the number of transactions and incoming traffic to the branches. The second lesson, so that was the first lesson, the importance of focus. The second lesson that we learned was, no surprise, communication and education that are very key in terms of change, both for internal and external reasons. So in terms of the general communication from banks, from the government, from the various formal or informal bodies, was key during the period for the social, for the society, particularly in the early lockdown days. At Piraeus, we quickly set up internal communication channels and also communications to customers regarding various issues affecting their everyday banking, such as the restrictions to the banking transactions that they can perform in the branch, the ability of digital channels, and the things that they can do through digital channels, which for us who work in the bank are very obvious and part of our everyday, but for customers it's not. So an education went hand in hand with this, with the communication. It was a vital enabler. So as George mentioned, we invested a lot of resources and time in educating our customers and our staff to act responsibly and to change their behavior, simply because COVID brought to all of us a new reality. It paid off as millions of transactions, we saw millions of transactions moving to digital channels without problems and in a very short period of time.
Thank you so much, Sergios. It all makes a lot of sense. I suggest we get to the next chapter, if I may say. The discussion we'd like to hold here is to see what is the new normal for the branches tomorrow. And, we'll address a lot of questions. And by the way, we're getting more and more questions from the audience, and I will address those in a few seconds. But I'd like to get to the poll number 2. And this one will try to look at what would be the main use of the bank branches in the next 3 to 5 years. So I hope we can see the poll for the participants. Yes. This is again a multiple choice, so you can choose several options between customer acquisition, cross-sell, upsell, traditional transaction services, advisory services, brand awareness, local relationship building, increase engagement with customers, and creating the perception you're digital, innovative, and client-centric. So I guess you had now time to click on the different options you want to, and I suggest we look at the result. So coming, yes, thank you. So you see a quite nice split, but we have cross-sell, upsell as a high score, advisory service as a high score, as Javier mentioned earlier, and of course also local relationship building. So I'd like now to, considering those replies, I'd like to take a few questions we got from the audience. And I think one which comes back 2-3 times is, how much is it relevant to discuss about the future of branches while we have so much discussion on the digital bank only? That's one part of the question. And the other one is also, as Javier said, he said maybe for the young people it's a bit different. But indeed, if you look at young people and also tech-savvy segment demanding a lot of digital banking, so where is the bank staying there in the future? And I'd like George to get to the first reply for this.
All right. So what we see about the branches in the future is, we had the example of the branch, and we saw, what it means to make changes for people, especially, here in South Europe, that it's not very easy to change the culture of people. We're not exactly Asia to be very digital in our state of mind. But we saw that things will change. And if you make, the new branch easygoing and easy using and a good experience, then I think even old people are ready to use it and to make the change. So I think the most important for the future branches is to be modular, to be like Lego style, so you can easily shape them and turn them around depending on your strategy, depending on things that probably you don't know that are coming. For example, COVID-19, that no one was expecting this. But it's much easier if you have a branch that is easily shaking and changing. So I think that, of course, the transaction part will be digital or phygital. You know, it will be a little bit more automated, and of course you need someone to help people, even like a stepping stone, until, you know, they are used to do it on their own. So I think that an example for the future branches is to have a meter greeter, and that is helping people, you know, is welcoming people, is always with the customer together. So people that are entering a branch, they feel like private banking clients, even if they are mass clients. And also, of course, the future branches will be more advisory. We will use special areas and meeting points that they are more private, and you can easily, you know, discuss. Not as the picture I showed in the beginning, that, you know, it was a very noisy place that you could not discuss something, you know, for the future of your money, or if you want a loan, etc. And the third part, I think it's very important, is that I see the future branches to be part of educational areas that the bank, you know, can show either the new mobile or the new PFM, personal financial management equipment that they have in the mobile, or the wallet, or anything new tool that is important. It's much easier to do it in a physical place at the first, and then you know, to apply it, and the customers can do it back home on their own. So Sterios, do you want to add also some more information on this?
Yes, just a couple of thoughts on this. I think the branch transformation has been with us, started a long time ago, not necessarily due to COVID. I agree with that comment. And we think that it is driven primarily by two things. The first one is an internal thing, is the need for every bank to reduce the cost to serve. So if we can limit the number of branches without losing customers, transactions, and businesses, that would be great, because we would reduce the cost of the bank, at the same time maintaining a healthy revenue and profit. Obviously, this is not easy. The second factor is the technology that has been entering our lives over the past decade, particularly, and which has changed the way that we work, we live, we operate, we interact, etc. And so this will continue to be the case, particularly in the short to medium future. And I also agree that it's very difficult to predict the future in the long term. So as a consequence, we see branches not disappearing, at least in the medium term, but instead they would probably become three things. The first one is a more premium channel to service customers, because it is more expensive. So people have been thinking that they can go to the branch to do anything they want, but this unfortunately adds a lot of costs to the way that we operate. So we think branches will become more of an area to service high value customers instead of everyone. The second thing is that we see branches more and more having an advisory role rather than a transaction role, but also a role in terms of selling complex products. Some products, such as a debit card, for example, could be sold digitally and could be delivered at home. But some other products, such as investments, mortgages, and products that need a discussion.
Stergios, can I interrupt you? I got a few messages asking if you can hire a bit more voice or...
Okay. I'll do my best. I've got the microphone just in front of my mouth, so I don't think there is a lot I can do, but I'll do my best.
You can eat it, but that's dangerous.
Yes. So a typical example would be a business loan. I think everybody would agree that in order for a customer, in order for a bank to issue a business loan, the bank would need to understand a lot about the customer's business, the business case, how it works, the issues that you have, the prospects, etc. So this cannot be very easily done digitally. You need a human interaction. So this will probably stay. So, and the third thing is that culture is also important in this, as George said. It is, sorry, just 1 second, I've got a phone line ringing. So in Greece, as well as in other Southern European countries, face-to-face communication, especially for the more complicated stuff, is important. Now, this may not be the case for Generation X or millennials, but they don't necessarily have yet the same level of demand for high value and complex products. So if we talk about transactions such as payments, then yes, they can be very easily done digitally. So therefore, there is a lot of space for digital banks to operate. But if we talk about more complex products, this is not necessarily the case, and the role of the traditional banks in this respect, and the role of the face-to-face communication with our customers is particularly important.
Thank you so much. And getting now to Javier, I think, Javier, we heard a lot of interesting topics to address, and I like very much the one about, the type of complex product you handle still in branches and not digital. But I think it all depends on the culture, the country, the part of Europe where you are, where people are more digital than others. So this is a consideration you can take. But yeah, I know you have a number of interesting things to tell us. Please.
Yes, of course. First of all, I want to introduce that, coming back to the previous question, we realized a few years ago that for the youth segment and even millennial, we had to do something different. And we created a new bank, which is called Imagine Bank, okay, which is really a millennial division. Then this operates mobile only, 100% mobile only. Okay, because we are really focused on the customer's insights, and you always have to provide what the customers need, not? And this is the put. But for the general customers, and only I have to make a point. Only the customers that they want, they move from CaixaBank to Imagine, okay? The rest, they remain in CaixaBank. And another thing, we have to connect emotionally with the customers. In that point, I think COVID has provided us the opportunity to connect more than ever emotionally with the customers. We have focused most of the branch employees to contact our customers, but not to sell any product, but to try to provide help the customers with some types of loans, to some type of different governmental helps that they need. But that was a help and take care call, not to sell. And we have analyzed in several tests that call have connected emotionally much better than ever to our customers. So what we see is COVID and digitalization will do all the transactionally, okay? But for the important questions, the physical branch, the physical contact will be remained important. And this is what we are focused on. What we have said is that the PHYGITAL. You will use the digital for the everyday transactions, but for the important things, you can do a personal contact. That also this personal contact should be maybe in a branch or maybe in a video call. But it's very important to have this personal contact. Another point I think we have to take into account, at least in CaixaBank, I have to tell you, our 100% digital customers are 50% margin rather than omnichannel customers, that they are the double in margin. Why? It's of course because sometimes insurance, mortgages, investment funds, and there, if you don't have a long interview, a calm interview to talk with the customer, what would they need, that it's very difficult to do it through the digital channels. So at the end of the day, what we see is omni-channel customers is much more value than 100 digital customers, at least in CaixaBank. So we strongly believe in the branches, and we are working hard to this opportunity to have the customers inside the branch will be the best experience we can provide to them.
Thank you. And there's something I liked very much, and I think we don't talk enough about it. It's you explained what the branch staff, the branch people did during COVID, because I guess the branches were closed, right, Javier?
No. At least in Spain, we were considered as a basic services from the government, and we have 95% of branches operating all the COVID. So we were opened. Another point is that due to the healthy measures, of course, only 50% of the employees were in the branch. Yep. And the rest, they operate from their homes, okay, yep. Calling the customers with this type of calls I explained before, a type yes. of how are you, how we can help you as a customer, you know?
Yeah, and I'd like to come back on this one, because I mean, probably we hear so many critics on banking, on banks usually, and I think here you're mentioning a social, emotional aspect which you entertained. So how can you now objectivize or measure how successful was this idea of this approach to customer? Is that something that you can share, if possible?
Well, yes. Till the moment, because we consider we are still being in the process, no, of the disconfining, but we have done several tests by digital and by call, and customers from CaixaBank has felt much better care than other competitors, that they don't move their employee base just to contact the customers to provide security in terms of financial, you know. And well, I think this is due because we worked hard in the last 5-10 years to have the best digital services, the best ATMs, and we don't we didn't see a really customer change of habits due to the COVID, because they did it before, you know. Our customers did the change to the digitalization in terms of transactionality before the COVID. So we can manage the situation, I think, the best we could, and we are happy of the results.
Great, thank you. Makes sense. Ula, we've heard a lot of nice buzzword, and I know you have a slide on this, but I'm just seeing a very interesting question which you might take as well, which is asking what kind of new KPI would you develop for this new digital world, especially post-COVID, if any?
Maybe first I will start from summarizing what George, Stergios, and Javier said about the future branches. As you see on the slide, this is the result of the questions we asked for the managers who are responsible for the branches. So as you see, we are talking about, of course, new branches, new idea of the branches, and what George, Stergios, and Javier said. When we think about the branches, we don't think about the regular transactions, the standard transactions. I think that what is the most important, we need to remember that money, finance, and finance will remain sensitive, emotional, and complex topic. People will continue to place value in traditional face-to-face interaction for such matters. Maybe not for, they don't want to be in touch and to contact with everybody, not all the time, but when our client decide about the very important financial things, decide about make up some very important decisions, they need some support, they need advisor. I always say that, okay, if we want to think about the future branches, and if we think that our clients are prepared only for digital service, we should ask one question: if our clients are prepared for this, if our clients are well educated. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because when I look at the results of different researchers, people say, okay, I can open an account, I can make some simple transaction, but I'm not afraid if I should take this credit or the other. And people need all the time support, and I think that that's why we need to talk about the branches. Of course, it will be in another shape of the branch, another idea, and I think this is very important. You know, on the other way, we can of course see that clients say that managers say that clients are very mobile, that are very digital, and okay, but look. Let's give an example of the situation like self-checkout line at store. When we make shopping, when we do shopping, we would like to, very often we go to the self-checkout line, we just check our products, yeah, we pay alone, etc. It's about 80% of our visits at the shops. But what happens? There are 20% of the situations on our visits when we need some support of somebody. And it happens with the branches. There will be some time when we will need support of the advisor, and that's why when we look at the branches, when we look at the new idea of the branches, these are not very strict banking branches, but these are the places where the customer can come, can get some advice, but also this is the place for meeting with the people, and this is the space for community. So this is another way of being in touch with banking and with the advisor, and I think this is very important. But it's also, of course, as George, Sergios, and Javier said, it's also the level of the education, of the culture. It's really different when we look at the whole world, and when we look at what part of the world there is a group of, all the time there's a group of adult people who don't have an account, and what we can check, this is the result of the culture, this is the result of the education. So I think what is also very important, when we just go only on digital banking, you know, our clients can be open, or because of the lack of knowledge, they can, for example, use some credits, but not from the banks, and it can be dangerous for them. So I think that is also very important. So our role is also in the branch is to educate our clients and to support them in the whole life and the different stages of the life.
Can I also make a comment, Philip?
Sure.
Just a thought. Obviously, moving people, customers, and transactions to digital channels is important. But I have to raise the flag that this is not risk-free. So it's not an easy thing to persuade people to move the transactions and their behavior to lower costed channels for you as a bank, and at the same time maintain their businesses, maintain their balances, and maintain the products. Because if you do it in the wrong way, it's very easy that you will upset the customers, and you don't work alone in this market. There are also other banks who will be very happy to welcome disappointed customers from you. So the transition will have to be done in a way that it is friendly and it adds value to the customer, as well as adding value to the bank.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Also, there was a question asking, indeed, which has been a never-ending story. Like, if you orient customers, you know, to digital channels with the help of the branch people, what do they think of it? Because they're killing slowly but surely their job, right? Javier?
Yeah, well, I think we were in this stage a few years ago, but we worked hard to modify. We put on in most of the things that all our processes that we move from physical to digital, we put the employee in the center. I'm talking the employee, not the customer. In terms of always you have to feel that even when you are doing the transactions through your mobile or internet or somewhere else, you have the employee together with you. So in all of our apps, in the website, etc., you have your employee, not an employee in general. The name of the person who is dealing with you all the time, all your process every year. Okay, it's always the same. You have a connection with him in order if you need help, if you want to talk for some advice, to connect them. Once we introduce this point, the employee network changed the feeling that digitalization goes against his job, because today they feel that the company, the bank, we strongly believe, as I'm talking from the beginning, that what we want to differentiate from our competitors is that you have an employee together behind you for anything you need, and no matter which is the channel. If it's a digital channel, you can contact anytime to the employee, you know. So I think today the employees see the digitalization and the new technologies as a help more than as a competitor, you know.
Okay, and I'd like to prolong the discussion with Stergios and George, because one of the questions relates to if you need high value service, then you need to upgrade the competency and the education of the staff, right? So this is a good point, just to say, as Javier said.
Yes, actually, we agree totally with the strategy of La Caixa. We are doing exactly the same, and you know, I don't want to say exactly, you know, that we put the employee really in the center, but we also believe that digital opens new opportunities for serving our customers. So this means extended services, I would say, for the clients and for our employees. For example, for the branch, we have more than double hours working hours, which means that we need more meter greeter and employees. Plus that, for example, if you have digital video banking, then you need employees serving this. So, you know, it's if you take advantage of this, you can think more things to give to the client, and this is, you know, normally a competitive advantage.
It does make sense. I suggest, because we could discuss for hours, we get to the next chapter, which is looking at the new ideas of branches. And I think both banks have done things great. So I would suggest we start with George, showing us what you have done at Pillars Bank.
Of course, you know, actually what we discussed before, you know, about the future branches and how they will shape. I think that the example that we had in Piraeus Bank starting 2016, so actually we are 3.5 years now, is something that I can say to everyone with very confident that, you know, we did it. It really works. If you design it well, if you know what exactly is your audience and what they want, and if you can make it easygoing for everyone, then it really works. So very quickly in this slide, you know, when we were designing the branch, we knew that in Greece, it's not very easy to make a digital space environment. It's not very familiar. So we wanted something that is warm, that is very homey, I would say. And that's why with our company that we make the design, we end up having like a modern house or more modern kitchen landscape, that it is a place even for all people that is familiar. So it's a place where you can work, learn, act, you know, share, etc. So we have, if we can change also the slide, we had a place that looks like this. You know, it's a very nice place. It is really very different than the normal branches we have here in Greece. The feeling is really great to get in and to do things, to do banking services. And the reason we did this is not only for customers to feel nice, but also because we wanted actually to disappear the machines. We didn't want so someone could see like 10 machines in a row. You know, it's not, as I said before, we're not Asia at the moment. So we made all this design in order to put in a kitchen landscape our machines and to be, you know, very friendly and smoothly. So if we can go also to the other slide, a very important thing about the branches is that we focus on making it very functional and putting a lot of services on that. For example, we have even the remote cashier that is working 13 hours a day and Saturday. And we gave a big emphasis on business, on SBs, on freelancers, so they could come, make their transaction or even advisory parts, but without needing to wait, or even if they wanted, you know, if they're having their money from their business in the afternoon, 8 o'clock in the afternoon or Saturday, they could come to the branch and make all the transactions very easy and very friendly. So this gave us a big competitive advantage, and we'll see the results after. So if we could go to the next slide, because we have also the time. So very important about the branch is that we have more than double operating hours than normal branches. And for the customers, it means half time and even less than a normal branch. So for them, you know, time is money, as we say. So it's important that they come, they have a person waiting for them, they can easily finish what they want in the bank and, you know, leave very satisfied. And in the next slide, we can see a video very quickly about how this e-branch looks.
Sorry, I need to.
Just have in mind, because we have some seconds, that the most important for the e-branch is the human part. You know, although it is called e-branch, it's strange. It is more human, and I'll explain in some seconds after why it is more human than a normal branch. Thank you.
Do you see the film? Yeah.
Yes, yes. If you can enlarge screen. Yeah.
Innovation means creating novel ideas for new needs. It means finding original solutions and making your daily life easier. That's what we've always strived for at Piraeus Bank. That's what we are continuing today by introducing the e-branch, a new type of branch with a different banking philosophy. A comfortable and friendly environment with extended operating hours and specialized services that facilitate and accelerate your transactions, while an associate is always available to help you. Welcome to the e-branch. Welcome to a new banking experience. Piraeus Bank, the #1 bank in Greece.
Okay, we had some problems a little bit with the video, but you can find it in the YouTube if you want. So, as I said, it is very human, and not only that, what we were very surprisingly at even the first month of operating the branch is that the biggest fan club of the branch were elder people, 60 plus. And why? Because it was very strange for us as well. Is because we gave the new technology with a very easy way and with someone helping them. So because they want to feel part of this change, because they know that digital is part of the new, of our social life, I would say. So they are very happy if they can feel that they can be part of it and they can use it. So actually, the biggest fan club, although the branch is for all the segments and is being used from all the segments, is the non-digital customers. So this is very important if you make future branch, and if you make an e-branch, to have in mind non-digital customers. So if you can see the next slide, this is, you can see Mrs.
Sorry.
Yeah. Mrs. Rea is one of the 1,000 examples we have of old people, enthusiastic, because she came, she didn't knew that this is an e-branch. She was very scared in the beginning. She used the remote cashier after she used, automatic machines. And of course, now she's using mobile banking, always with the help of the facilitators. And, this is her pie of how happy she was, with the people that helped her. And in the other, in this picture, we actually, what we did in the e-branch, we made a lot of services that are the digital gave us the opportunity to be more social. And this example of having small children that normally, the parents, they come with small children, they don't know how to keep them, and so they can easily make a bank transaction or even advisory part. So normally they're running left and right. So we make educational programs with money and financial. They could play, puzzle with banknotes and other coins. So they could stay there, and parents were very happy about that. And also we made almost more than dozens of new services for disabled people, which is very, very important for the social part of the bank. So if we can go to the next slide. This was results of the e-branch. Actually, today we have more than 25,000 visits per month per e-branch, okay, which is amazing for Greece at least. And the 1/3 of people using the remote cashier are over 65 years old, which is also, impressive. The hub branches for here in Greece in Piraeus Bank are the big branches. So they have the branches, they have 40% more transactions than our big branches and 50% more deposits than these branches because of the extended hours and because they are more friendly and easy to use. So we started with 3 e-branches, now we have 10, and in our strategy for the next years, we are going to increase them because we see how valuable they are for the customers and for the bank.
Just a quick additional comment. The one thing that you have to remember behind all this is the customer journey.
Okay, thank you
You're
so
right,
much.
sorry.
I suggest we now get to Javier for the ideas and on the CaixaBank side. Please, Javier.
We don't hear you.
Javier, you are muted.
Yes, excuse
Okay.
me. Yes, I was telling that we based our branch transformation basically, I think, in two points. First, what are the best in class of other sectors do? For we have seen here why Apple has shops. If everyone knows his products, he could sell everything through internet, but instead of that, they open the best stores in the best corners of the main cities. Okay, why? Of course, because they are not selling a product, they are selling an experience, and this is why they do this. Another example, if you can change, is Nespresso. It's difficult to understand why people prefers to go to a shop to buy only a coffee instead of going to the supermarket or do it through other channels. And the reason is that when you go to an espresso shop, they give you a really big experience. So this is taking one thing in mind, trying to understand the key points of other sectors, the best in class. And another was to do a deep consumer insight study in order to understand what the customers ask us to introduce for the new branches. And basically, they demanded us more confidential, more transparency, and I see, to provide more confidence, to share the information, to be more comfortable like others, like an Starbucks and so on. So with these 2 points, the best benchmark and the customer's insights, we designed this new branch. As our colleagues from Greece tell, customers ask us for a wider timetable, open times, and we did it. The customers then to branch merge. I have to tell that we merged 2 or 3 old branches in these new ones. Okay, so at the same time, we introduced a lot of efficiently in terms of employees to attend the same amount of customers. And we introduced, well, we don't call branches anymore, we call stores, as you can see on the screen, because we introduce a lot of other products. We can provide the loan linked to the product to sell them. Okay, and also if you change, please.
Okay.
I can share with you, I think, a video with 1 minute video, I think, to see at the same time how are this type of branches, if we can.
Okay. Yes. I'm trying. I hope it will.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not this. I'm sorry. I hope now it will be okay. We have some problem with this. Maybe okay. Do you see the slides? The slide?
Yes, coming.
Yes.
Okay, but now.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name's Victor, and today I'm visiting the new model of CaixaBank branch for the first time. Would you like to come with me? When I go in, a staff member welcomes me, and I tell her my advisors called me to arrange a meeting and also to see the new branch. She takes me to a waiting area and makes sure someone sees me immediately. The branch is accessible and open, and its unobstructed design lets me see what's going on around me. I can also see that the staff are not assigned to particular places, but move all around the branch with their tablets. Like this, each client can choose where they are dealt with. My advisor soon comes to meet me and tells me he will deal with me in a more private area, the specialized attention area, where I can have the confidentiality I want. From the start, the conversation is informal, clear, and productive. I can analyze the information at any time on a screen we are sharing. My feeling is that closeness and transparency are constant features. At the branch, I meet a friend who's also a client there, and the product display area attracts both our attention. When I leave, I rate my visit very highly. I have the feeling I've discovered the bank of the future. A pleasant, friendly, and modern experience.
That was it, Javier?
Well, Yes.
Do you have any?
Well,
Please.
well, I see. At the end of the day, I think it's a quite similar proposal than the Greece colleagues explained before. Okay, how to engage better to our customer, how to achieve that the customer will be more comfortable than before. And at the end, what we wanted is that our customers want to come back in the future, you know, to the branches, because they feel very comfortable and well attended.
It makes a lot of sense. You know what, my dear friends, we've even reached the end and even beyond. What I would like to suggest, because this is one episode, and you know, the branch, despite what some people say about the fact that it's decreasing or dying or whatever, I think we see a lot of valid and relevant discussions about it. And I've heard also many questions which we couldn't address, and we might come back on those in the next episode after summer, where we can look at how to measure performance of the branches, how to compare, you know, the value of the customer using omnichannel opposed to only one channel. A word I didn't hear is trust. You know, one of the things we heard from the All-Star panel 2 weeks ago is that the branch is also there to help a bank give trust to the customer, and this has a value opposed to digital only. So I suggest we close here. I would like to thank all speakers, Ula, all participants as well. You will be able to replay the episode on the EFMA web as of tomorrow, I think, and also we'll come back on the branch transformation after summer. So have a great afternoon and talk to you soon.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Because we've got a lot of questions we linked with the branch transformation. I would like to invite everybody to join our physical channel council. We are all the time in touch, so we can share these questions, these ideas, and we regularly we meet on the councils and councils. So please join us, and we will support each other. We'll share good practices. A lot of ideas, so I think that it's just the first webinar, but it will continue this. So join us, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you
And
very
also
much.
I can promise that we will get to all people having raised a question which was not discussed with an answer, right?
Yeah.
So have a great afternoon or evening, and thank you so much for your time and attention. Bye bye. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Philippe.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.